Welcome, everybody. Today I have a special guest, Kamala Harris, who is running for the presidential election for 2024 with her running mate, Tim Walz. So, this is going to be a great interview where we focus on the main issues as she has agreed to do. And she promised that she wouldn't try to pander today. So, let's see if she actually answers the questions. What do you think? Do you think you can answer the questions without just pandering and talking about things that don't really answer the questions? Of course I can. You know I grew up in a middle class household and I carry a Glock in my glove cup. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. But let's look at the list of issues we want to talk about today for 2024. Let's start with what we're going to begin with: illegal immigration, deportation, the wall/ladder, free homes for illegals in places like California, or at least paying for big portions of it, abolish ICE, or at least defund it, Venezuelan gangs taking over places like Aurora, Colorado. Why won't Martha's Vineyard allow illegals there in these other rich neighborhoods full of Democrats? That doesn't make sense to a lot of the poor areas in the country where they're all allowed to be dumped off at, and y'all don't do anything about it. Why don't you bus them to your own homes? If you have a Kamala sign in your yard, shouldn't you take them in if you really want this so bad? What about the loss of jobs for American citizens? Why don't the rich, again, in neighborhoods take them in? And again, speaking of this, I want to talk about the Pope, bring this in since he's commented on the election about how it's bad to not let people in illegally. But what about Vatican City in Italy? You know, it's its own country, is it not? And just a question: he's not tearing down his walls to allow all these millions of people to move in there from around the world, not just in America. Isn't that kind of hypocritical? What do you think about all this? I mean, do you think that this is wrong to let people in that are coming in hurting American citizens, gangs taking over apartment complexes, doing horrible things and heinous things to little girls and adults in New York City? Gang violence increased, more drugs coming in, not enforcing the laws like you should. What do you think of all of this, these horrible things that are happening? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Have you no empathy, man?
Okay, that sounds a little callous. Empathy for them for coming in illegally. That's why it's called illegal. Please, do you not understand? I mean, you act like the world is full of coconut trees. I don't understand. I mean, do you think I fell out of a coconut tree or something? Is that what you think? I mean, do you? Because I didn't. I didn't fall out of a coconut tree. I mean, do you think I did?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Okay, that's ridiculous. I was just joking about a coconut tree, and now you say it. Now, please stick to the topics, okay? Now, let's go over some of the things that are concerning American citizens now. Let's give some details, and I want you to comment on them. First of all, unless this is not right, you tell me. Um, you said in 2017, after joining the Senate, you denounced the wall as a stupid waste of money and pledged to block funding for it. You said it's a complete waste of taxpayer money and won't make us any safer. Even though the border crossings were down with Donald Trump and he was attempting to build the wall, actually trying to do something, you want to tear it down? Remember, what about Laken Riley and people, around the country? She's just one example of what, dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands. I don't know the exact number on that, but we do have some stats on this, by the way, we can go over. I mean, what do you think of that? Okay, that's not answering the question. Well, you must remember that you can be unburdened by what has been. That doesn't answer the question. Please, no platitudes. Just answer the questions. Let me just continue then. What about vetting illegal immigrants instead of unvetted ones coming in? Okay, it's one thing to have illegals in here, it's another thing to have the criminal element coming in and not deporting them. Do you think they should be deported? Have you no empathy, man? Okay, that's not answering the question. Why is your empathy for them and not the people that are being hurt in America, American citizens? I mean, your running mate wants to build a ladder taller than the wall, so he says and jokes about back in the past, so they can keep coming in. I'm okay, and most Americans are people with people coming in legally and being vetted and staying in Mexico as Trump had them doing. You and your partner, Joe Biden, immediately wanted to do away with that, or did do away with that. That sounds insane to everyone. But let's continue. Now, you need to talk about these with us. The data from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is ICE, gave out this information. Those released that are not in detention, there were 425,431 convicted criminals and over 222,000 with pending criminal charges released. The figure includes over 62,000 convicted of assault, over 14,000 convicted of burglary, over 56,000 with drug convictions, and over 13,000 convicted of homicide, an additional over 2,000 for kidnapping convictions, and over 15,000 having sexual assault convictions. And these are just the ones we know about. Again, what do you think of this? Well, I'm from the middle class and I keep a Glock in my. Okay, again, you're not answering the question. So let's continue. Apparently, you're not. I said this is going to be a no nonsense interview. So let's keep talking about things. Let's continue. Now, according to my information here, in 2019, you were talking to Jake Tapper, and you said you would make no distinction between American citizens and illegal immigrants on various issues. You said people who are in this country illegally, let me just be very clear about this. I'm opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period. Okay, that doesn't sound like you're putting American citizens first, does it? Or am I wrong? Well, you know that I think you should be unburdened by what has been. That would probably solve everything. No, it wouldn't. Okay, what about the CBP app that JD Vance brought up, where you can basically go on there and come in illegally? And and then also the fact that y'all are flying people in to stay over here. That's insane. We have enough people as it is in this country, no matter what you say. We don't need to overpopulate our cities with more people. That sounds nuts. They need to stay where they're at, don't you think? Well, I'm not going to answer that question because I've got to say things, that won't get me in trouble here because I want to sound moderate, but if I answer them, I won't sound moderate. That sounds like an honest answer, actually. It sounds like what Bernie Sanders was saying, that you're just talking moderate right now, sounding like a moderate, just so you can get elected, then you go back to the way you were. He basically said that recently. How interesting. Thank you for that honesty. We all appreciate that, Ms. Harris. Now, you keep bringing up the bipartisan border security bill that came up. Yes, Trump and all the Republicans were against it. Okay, that's very funny to you, but do the American citizens realize, or have they forgotten, that in that it said this? You would close the border if the number of migrants encountered by immigration officials averaged more than 4,000 people a day at the border over the course of 1 week. The authority would be triggered automatically if the average surpassed 5,000 a day, or if 8,500 try to enter unlawfully in a single day. Do you not understand that's a very high number? That's insane? That there should be zero. That's why Trump and everyone else was against it. Anyone with a brain in their head. Why doesn't that make sense to you? Well, it's just, I don't know. Wow, do you like my outfit today? Look at my pearls. Aren't they pretty? Thank you. Okay. Now, JD Vance was recently in an interview with Martha Raddatz, where she said, and this is about Aurora, Colorado, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened. I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems, Raddatz insisted. Anyway, he went on to say to her, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border? Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. Doesn't that sound crazy to you? Talk about Trump derangement syndrome. Doesn't that sound nuts? People would respect you right now if you would be honest and say in your heart of hearts that it's wrong to let people come in illegally. Did you fall out of a coconut tree? Can you be unburdened by what has been? Okay. Anyway, so let's just think of it this way to close this topic. Would you not agree millions of illegals are living their best life right now in America while American citizens are not? Would you not agree that you could have closed the border during this past 3.5 years if you really wanted to? Are you remembering all these children that have been horrible things happened to from illegals coming in, violent criminals? And don't you dare say that their lives don't matter, that it could have happened anyway. That's one life matters. Whether it's one, 100, or a million lives matter have been affected by this. If they had not come over here, these people would still be alive. Their lives matter. What about, again, as I said, allow them to live in your homes? And what about New York City, by the way, giving them $4,000, to get them out of shelters, giving them money? What about the people, the vets who live out on the streets and the homeless American citizens? Why not take care of them? Okay, I don't know what else to say about this. This is crazy, but this is going to be part one of this topic because we got to go on to other things, and this is so much time taken. I didn't think it would take this long, but I at least appreciate you at least sitting there, and you didn't say too much, but that is a nice picture of your VP's wall and ladder, or the ladder over the wall that he wants. And next we'll be getting into some other issues such as cashless bail. But in your own words, what can be unburdened by what has been? That is so insightful. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it.